If you're a Turo host in New York, you might be losing bookings right now, and it's not your fault. And I can actually confirm that because I was invited to a Turo event last week, and what they said there explains exactly what's going on. In this video, I'm going to break down what I heard directly from Turo, show you a screenshot from the event, and most importantly, explain what it means for your bookings, your strategy, and where the opportunity is right now. Let's start with the problem. For years, New York has been one of the hardest markets to operate on Turo, and it all comes down to one number, $1.25 million. That's the liability insurance required per trip under New York rules. Now, when I was at the Turo event, they actually addressed this directly. And what they said was this: because of New York's insurance requirements combined with high fraud and risk in the state, the cost of doing business became unsustainable. And because of that, they had to limit booking volumes. Now, let that sink in. That means that if your car hasn't been getting booked the way you expected, it might not be your pricing, it might not be your listing, it may be the platform itself controlling demand. And this is where things start to shift. Turo said that at the event that they worked with lawmakers to reduce these insurance requirements, and that the law that was signed at the end of 2025, it removes the $1.25 million burden and brings things closer to standard car rental rules. So naturally you think, okay, problem solved, more bookings are coming. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is where most people get it wrong. Because even in that same update, they made it clear that New York is still going to remain a challenge. So the question becomes, how can demand actually increase if New York is still a difficult market? There's two different things happening at the same time. Right now, demand is just not just low, but it's being limited. Turo basically said that because of the high costs and risks, they had to intentionally hold bookings. So demand exists, but it's being throttled. But even after the law takes place, the underlying risk just doesn't disappear. Fraud doesn't disappear. Claims, risks just doesn't disappear. And operating in New York is still complex. So what changes? Before, it was high cost plus high risk meant that they had to heavily limit demand. And now it's lower cost but still high risk means they can allow more demand, just not all at once. So when people say demand is going to open up, it doesn't mean there's going to be some massive spike overnight. It means that the platform can start gradually allowing more bookings, less restrictions, and more visibility, and more utilization over time. Before the road was blocked, after the road opens, but there's still traffic. You can move now, but it's not wide open. And this is exactly why Turo is still being cautious. Even with the lower insurance costs, New York is still a high-risk environment. So instead of flooding the market, they're going to expand slowly. They're going to test things. They're going to push more volume where it's safe. Which brings us to the most important line from the entire update. They literally said, delivering to Newark is the best option right now. That tells you everything about what they're thinking. Right now, the opportunity is not fully in New York. It's in New Jersey, specifically around Newark Airport. Because from a renter's perspective, they're still accessing New York. But from Turo's perspective, it's a lower risk, more efficient environment. So if you're a host, the real question is, where should I be positioning my cars right now? And based on everything we just went through, the smart move is to focus on Newark, Jersey City, Hoboken, areas that feed into that demand. Now let's talk about what most people are going to do wrong. They're going to hear that, oh, the law passed, and they're going to rush to scale, add cars, drop prices, go in on NYC. But that's a mistake because the market hasn't fully opened yet. The smarter move is this: position now, scale later. Right now, you should be looking at your listings, building strong reviews whenever you get bookings, testing pricing, and learning the Newark market. Because once we get closer to mid-2026, that's where things start to shift faster. Hopefully more bookings will start coming in, but at the same time, more hosts will enter the market, which means more competition. And that's where the advantage comes in. You're already positioned. If you already understand where the demand is flowing, you're already ahead. So The real opportunity here is not just the law, it's timing and understanding how demand actually opens, not all at once, but gradually. What are you doing right now? Are you staying in NYC, moving towards Newark? I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. I'm tracking this closely and I'll share real data as this plays out. And if you want to stay ahead of the changes and actually see what happens as this rolls out, make sure you subscribe. The market is shifting and the people who understand it early are the ones who win. Until next time, peace.